Hello everyone, I'm Adam the Final Boss, or perhaps today's video, I should be Adam the Author. Now if you've followed my content for a while now, you may know that earlier this year something happened. Adam the Beast, well, he died. Well, not literally, but after many years of anime reactions, copyright issues, blocked videos, all sorts of adventures, my old life eventually came to an end. And like many players before him, Adam the Beast was reincarnated. Not into a fantasy world, not as a slime, not even as a sword, but as Adam, the final boss. Since that reincarnation, I've been spending more time focusing on gaming content and thinking about kind of creative projects that I want to make. One project that keeps coming back to me is writing a book. Because a long time ago, before YouTube, before reactions, before any of this, I loved making up stories. One of my first stories I remember writing was a book called The Fish That Couldn't Swim, which looking back was pretty bad. And I can fully admit that it was bad. But back then, I loved creating adventures. So the title for this book that I'm currently writing is called The Dungeon Has 100 Floors. Basic premise is actually pretty simple. In a world where the story takes place, there is a dungeon that exists for many years. Eventually explored it, mapped it, conquered it, but it only has 10 floors. For a long time, that has been a simple fact that the dungeon only has 10 floors. But recently, people started noticing something's different. Monsters behaving strangely, the dungeon itself feels different, and rumours have gone spreading that something may have changed deep within the depths. The problem is that no one actually knows what the changes are in the dungeon, or how it's changed over time. But as far as people know, the dungeon still has 10 floors. But yeah, that's where our story begins. The story follows two sisters who enter the dungeon to investigate these strange occurrences and discover the truth behind what is actually happening to their dungeon. One thing I want to do differently from a lot of dungeon stories is make each floor feel like its own adventure. Some floors may be dangerous, others may be mysterious, some might be funny, and some might be completely ridiculous. The dungeon itself is just as important as the characters because every floor presents a new challenge, a new location, and new people to meet. Now before we actually meet some of the characters, there's one thing I want to mention. These images you're about to see for the characters are placeholder AI images. I know no one likes AI images and stuff, but it's just I need to give me a visualization of what the characters actually look like, just so I'm aware when I'm writing them down. And hopefully in the future, these will be better designs for the characters and be either from a professional artist, myself, if I ever, decide to actually do some good drawings. But yeah, just for now, these AI images are what the characters will look like. Obviously, as I said, further on, they will be better. It's just so I know what I'm working with, and you guys can see what the characters look like instead of me just describing them, because if I describe them, everyone will get their own image in their head of what the characters look like, and I want people to have generally the same image in their head, so that's why I'm using these AI images. But with that out of the way, let's meet some of the characters we'll be following throughout this adventure. So the main character is Caliber, or Callie for short, and Callie is the older sister of the two, an aspiring adventurer. She's generally responsible, practical, and usually the one trying to keep things under control, which is easier said than done when you're travelling compartment as your younger sister. While Callie is capable in a fight, one of her biggest strengths is determination, she decides to do something. She's the type of person who will see it through to the end no matter how difficult things become. She's also extremely protective of her family, especially Paulette. Speaking of Paulette, Paulette is the younger sister and in many ways the complete opposite of Callie. While Callie is cautious, Paulette is curious. While Callie is focused on the task at hand, Paulette is more interested in anything around her and everything around her. She's energetic, adventurous, and always eager to discover something new. Despite being younger, she's far from helpless and often notices things most people miss. The relationship between Callie and Paulette is one of the most important parts of the story, and a lot of the adventure revolves around how these two different sisters interact with each other and the people they meet. The final character I want to introduce is Roken. So Roken is one of the most respected adventurers in the entire region that the story takes place, and serves as something as a mentor figure. Because years ago, he was one of the first adventurers, along with his party, to actually conquer the 10th floor dungeon. As a big experience, he's one of the few people who truly understand how dangerous the dungeon can be. He's strong, experienced, and has a reputation that causes people to pay attention when he speaks. While he's not one of the two main protagonists, he's also very important, especially in the start of the story. And I'll say he's one of my favourite characters in the story. He's just a really cool guy, and I think his whole premise in the story is very, very good so far. Of course, these are only a few of the characters you'll meet throughout the story. As the sisters descend deep into the dungeon, encounter all kinds of adventurers, monsters, allies, rivals, and even a few unusual individuals along the way. But for now, these are the three characters at the heart of the adventure. But yeah, so that's the premise of the story and some of the main characters. Next question is probably, how far along is the project? And to be honest, we're still very early up in development of the story, and by we I mean me, because I'm the one writing it. But at the time of recording this video, I'm getting towards the end of chapter 1. So yeah, I'm not really that very far at all. I just thought I'd want to go along and make this video. But what I do have though is a plan. Okay, I do have some ideas for different floors and all the different characters. But yeah, I made a whole creator character profile for each character, or each of the main characters at least. There's some sub characters that I haven't made profiles for, which I probably won't because they're not as important. Just help me figure out who the characters are, how they behave, what motivates them, and how they interact with each other. We'll spend quite a lot of time planning future floor ideas for the dungeon. Because the dungeon is such a vital part of the story, I want to make sure each floor felt unique and memorable. Some floors are focused on adventure, some focus on combat, some are mysterious, and some are completely ridiculous. I won't spoil too much today, but I currently have a growing list of floor concepts that I could pull from the story as the story progresses. One thing I've learned very quickly is that writing a book involves a lot more planning than I originally expected. Not just writing chapter 1 and hoping everything works out. I'm thinking about where the characters will be 10 chapters from now. Thinking about future story arcs is making sure events happen that actually make sense, and when they finally happen, right now the project is at a stage where the foundation is being built. The characters are taking shape, the world is also taking shape, and with chapter 1, I feel like the story is starting to form. But writing a book hasn't been entirely easy. One of the biggest challenges that I've faced is making sure I'm creating something that feels unique in its own story. Because a lot of my inspiration for writing a book has come from light novels, fantasy animes, and isekai shows. But the challenge is taking inspiration from those stories without accidentally copying them. I want to make a story that feels unique and completely my own. Another challenge has simply been motivation. You know, starting a project is exciting, but continuing a project after a little break gets a lot harder. I know from making content for, quite a few years now that, it's always hard to pick something back up after you've dropped it for a couple of days, whether that be a game, a book in this case, or a video I've been working on or whatever. There have been days where I've got loads of ideas and loads of motivation and write a lot, and there's been other days where I've kind of been like, I have no idea what to write today. I do try and write at least a little bit every day, but sometimes a little hard. And the last major issue has been spelling. Alright, I know that sounds pretty ridiculous compared to what I just said, but let's just say spelling has never been my strong suit. It's probably one of the worst things I have in terms of like my writing skills is my spelling. But thankfully, thanks to modern technology and, computers as a whole, it seems to be a lot easier to, get by with spelling and stuff. Despite the challenges though, I've generally been enjoying the process. It's been fun creating characters, which has always been my favourite part of writing a story, is thinking of characters and how they interact with each other. And just the whole idea of like different flaws and different stories intertwining throughout the entire book. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I want to make this book, so I can mention the project that I'm working on, and I think I mentioned it a few times on Patreon recently actually. I think I did it a few times in my weekly boss vlog, and a few times, well, more than a few times in my Dungeon Meshi reaction series I've been doing. But I feel like it's finally time to actually share it with everyone else as well. So for all the people on YouTube, and all the people on Patreon who haven't actually seen me talk about it yet. A lot of you guys have followed my journey through anime reactions, gaming videos, and Adam reincarnation. Now that Shadow's mentioned too, I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. Whether it's feedback, questions, or just general thoughts on the concept, I'd love to hear them. And in fact, maybe make another video talking about, or responding to your comments in the future. And we'll also plan on doing is uploading individual character profiles for each character on my Patreon on a later date, which will be free. So anyone wondering, you don't have to pay for it, it'll be completely free. It'll just be every now and again I'll upload a character profile, trying to get through all the main cast. That way, anyone who's interested can get a much deeper look at the characters, their personalities, backgrounds, and some details that, didn't really make it into this video because I didn't want to talk about every character. I was going to be here for a couple of hours because I have quite a few important characters. Yeah, if you like to keep an eye on the cast, keep an eye on the Patreon because it's something I definitely like to share as the project develops. After all, it's maybe it's the beginning of a journey. Who knows where the project will be in a year from now? Maybe I'll still be writing, maybe I'll be working on later books in the series, maybe I've actually got an artist to create some, good images of characters, or maybe I'll be looking back thinking, what the hell am I doing? Either way, I'm excited to find out. But for now though, I have a dungeon to write. Thank you all for your continued support. I've been Adam the Author, and thanks for watching.